Work it, live it, love it, give it to me. Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody. How are ya? So glad you're here. My name is Vinny, also known as the Richard Simmons of the crafting world. And today we are going to be creating these absolutely beautiful beach glass wind chimes. Perfect for any room in your home. So before we begin, let's go over a quick inventory list just to make sure we have all of the supplies that we need for this project. Most of this stuff came in the mail for you. You will just need a couple of items from your home as well. So first of all, your beautiful beach glass. I've included a bunch of extra pieces for you in case there's a few that you don't want to use. We've got all different shapes, sizes, and colors. So your beach glass. Next is your rustic foundational beam, RFB for short, rustic foundational beam, harvested from the northern shores of Michigan by yours truly, hashtag not a stick. You will also have a little tube of super glue. You will have a container of a mysterious white substance that we will be utilizing to adhere the invisible line to the glass, and of course your invisible line, and a length of rustic hemp, THC free. Additionally, you'll need a couple of items from your house, just a pair of scissors, any type of tape. It can be masking tape like this, it can be duct tape, it can be scotch tape, whatever you've got is totally cool. And you'll also need some type of surface, some type of stiff surface to create your project on. I'm using just a piece of cardboard. You can use a baking sheet. Anything like that would work well. It's going to be about this size, about the size of a baking sheet. Also, if you haven't already, I've created a playlist for us to listen to. If you want to open up a separate tab or open up the playlist on another device, it's on our YouTube channel. Just click the playlist, and that way when we pause, we can all listen to the same music together. So I'll give you just a second to grab the other supplies, the scissors, the board, and a roll of tape. And then click pause right now, and whenever you're ready, come back, push play again, and we'll get rolling. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is getting juicier and juicier by the second. Let's go ahead and get started. So for this portion of the project, we're going to need the board and your beach glass. Like I said before, I've included a bunch of extra pieces for you. So if there's a piece or two that you don't want to use, no big deal. Over here, I have the finished demonstration. What works best is if we do 5 columns of beach glass with 8 or 9 pieces in each column. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces in the column, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate columns. Here I did a tortoise shell design where everything's kind of everywhere, all different colors and all different areas. You can do individual columns of maybe all blue, all white, all turquoise. There's no perfect way or particular way that you have to do it. It's all about experimentation, trial and error. Let's go ahead and start grabbing some glass, kind of just plopping them down and seeing what it looks like. I'm going to start with some of these bigger turquoise dark pieces. I like these a lot. When you're placing your first pieces, leave yourself a good inch of space at the top of your board. You'll see why later. It'll make the next step much easier. So just start placing your pieces. If something doesn't look right after you put it down, just pick it back up and we'll use it later. No big deal. Like that. Give yourself a little bit of room between the columns there. You don't want it to be too cramped. Something like that. I love how each piece is different. They're all different shapes. They all have their own unique personality. Again, leave yourself an inch at the top there. And you're also going to want to leave an inch at the bottom. Again, you'll see why here in a little bit. When you're doing your second row here, don't make the pieces too close together. You want to leave about at least a centimeter between each piece like this. And you'll see why here in a second. Just giving you a little pro tip there. And we're going to use all 45 pieces here. If something looks strange, like that one to me looks a little bit weird, take it out and we'll try it in a different area. Some of the pieces work well together, some of them don't. It's all about just kind of experimenting, going with the flow. There we go. Take your time, no rush. We're going to fill up the whole board with all 45 pieces. Go ahead and push play on the music playlist now. You can pause this video, and once your whole board is filled up with all 5 columns, all the way to the bottom, push play again and we'll move on to the next step. You got this, I believe in you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And we're back, and now we're really cooking. So at this point in the project, you should have all 45 pieces, approximately, laid out on your board in 5 individual columns. You should have a full inch of space at the top, left blank, and a full inch of space left blank here at the bottom. And the supplies we need for this next step are the tape and the invisible line. So what we're going to do is take a little piece of tape here and grab the end of your line. And what we're going to do is take the end of the line, go right below the bottom piece in your first column, and tape your line down right there below, just below the first piece, the bottom piece in your first column there. That's why we left the inch of space at the bottom to leave room for this tape. So take your tape, grab your line, and tape the line down right below that bottom piece in the first column. Then grab another piece of tape, stretch the line right across the middle of every piece in that column, and put another piece of tape directly above the top piece of glass in that column, just like that. Then you can subtly adjust all of the pieces of glass in that column to make sure that the line goes right through the middle of each piece. You don't want the line just to hit the corner or the edge of the piece. You need the line to go right directly through the middle of each piece. So go ahead and adjust those if you need to. Then take your scissors, and you don't want to snip off right close to the glass. Leave yourself about a foot of the line at the top, because that's what we are going to use to tie to the rustic foundational beam. So after you tape at the very bottom and the top and stretch your line across the whole column, leave yourself about a foot of line and go ahead and cut it. And we're going to do that same thing to all 5 columns, okay? So take your time, make sure to tape the line across all 5 columns, leave yourself about a foot of line at the top of each of the columns, and we'll move on whenever you're ready, okay? You can push pause on this video and push play again on the music reel. See you soon. And we're back, and you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work, everybody. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step. So far, we've got our pieces all laid out, and we just went ahead and taped a piece of invisible line across each of the 5 columns. At the top of each column, you want to have a foot of line left over because we're going to use that to tie onto the rustic foundational beam later. And for the next portion, we need the tape again. And here's why we need the tape. It is very important that the line touches the surface of each piece of glass. You may notice that currently the line is touching the tops of some of the glass, but it's floating over some of the other pieces. So this is what we're going to do to remedy that. You can go ahead and take a little skinny piece of tape, and if you need to, you can use your scissors to cut your tape. And we're going to put a little skinny piece of tape between each piece of glass, just like this. And the reason we're doing this is because we need the line to touch directly onto the glass so that when we use the mysterious adhesive, the glass actually attaches to the line. If the line is hovering above the glass, the glue won't be able to adhere to the glass. So take a little strip of tape and we're going to go in between each piece of glass, just like that. You can use scissors if you need to. Just a little tiny thin piece. Make sure the tape's stuck down really well. You don't want it popping up while we're gluing later. And just go ahead and get right between each piece. It doesn't have to look pretty or anything like that because we'll take the tape back up later. But make sure you get in between each piece. Even if it looks like the line is touching the glass in a certain area, just tape it down anyway, just for good measure. That way you don't have to worry about it. Take your time on this part. Boom, boom. Go between every single piece. And you can go ahead and pause this video again right now. Get rocking again on the music playlist and come back as soon as you're ready, all right? See you soon. So good. Beautiful job, everybody. Keep it up. I love it, love it, love it. So at this point, we have the beach glass laid out. We have the lines stretched across each column. And we went ahead and taped the line down in between each piece. Very good job. Now we're going to go over to your bottle of mysterious glaze. And this is the fun part. So this glaze does pour kind of fast. So what I like to do is take a piece of tape and put it over the nozzle. Make sure it's on there really good. Tape it down really well. Like that. Then take a little nail or any little toothpick or whatever and poke just a little tiny hole in there. That way you have much more control over the glaze. The beautiful thing about this glaze is it dries perfectly crystal clear, just like you see on this finished product here. So it gives a nice shine to the beach glass, and it's not like Elmer's glue or something that would not hold really well in it. And Elmer's glue has like kind of a whitish color to it. This dries perfectly clear, so it's perfect for this project. Now here's what you're going to do. We want to pour this mysterious resin on top of each piece of glass, right over the line. You want to get as much resin on the glass as you can without it spilling over the edge. And I'll kind of show you right here. Go right over that line. Be careful, don't squeeze too hard, you don't want it to shoot out. And kind of wait for it, see where it's going to flow. You want to go as close to the edges as you can, maybe just add a few drops here and there. And ideally it won't spill over. If it does, no big deal, just let it dry, okay? But try not to let it spill over too much. If it does spill over the edge, it's not the end of the world, just let it dry. And the nice thing about this glaze is when it dries, you can kind of just pull it off like one of those little command pull tabs. So get as much as you can on each piece. The more you get on there, the stronger your line will be and it'll hold better. And you want to do each piece of glass. Build up a nice little layer on each of the specimens. Ooh, that's a good looking specimen right there. And I just got a little drip, no big deal. Just let the little drips dry and we'll pull those off later. And we are going to go around each piece and build up as much of the resin as you can on top of the glass without it spilling over the edge. Alright? Take your time on this part. You don't want to squeeze too hard and have a big mess that engulfs your entire project. That would be hard to clean up. So take your time, just do a little bit at a time. And if it looks like it's not enough, you can add a little more. But you don't want to do a whole bunch at one time because it might spill over the edge, alright? So push play again on the playlist. We'll get rocking out and come back to me and push play on this video again when you are ready and have all of the glass pieces glazed, alright? You got this, I believe in you. Let's do it. Work it, live it, love it. Boom! So good. Beautiful job, everybody. Keep it up. So the glaze on the glass is going to take a full 24 hours to dry. So just put that off to the side, put it somewhere where the cat or the dog or the kids aren't going to get to it, and just let that set for 24 hours. In the meantime, I am going to show you how to tie your hemp onto your rustic foundational beam. So what you're going to need are your scissors, your RFB, and your hemp. And this is pretty easy. Oh, and also your super glue. You were probably wondering what the little thing of super glue was for, and we're going to be utilizing it only for this one little part. So you'll have a bunch left over. So grab your rustic foundational beam and your hemp, and let's start on the left-hand side of your rustic foundational beam. Go about an inch in from the end and take about a foot of your hemp, and we're just going to tie it once, just a regular square knot, the only knot we know, around the left-hand side about an inch in on your rustic foundational beam. I'll show you right now, okay? Hopefully this other camera here will pick this up nicely for us. We're just going to do a regular double knot. It's called a square knot. So pulled it once, pulled it twice, boom. Just a regular knot about an inch in from the left-hand side. You can adjust a little bit if you need to. See what I've done there? Can you see that? Now, grab your super glue, bust that baby open, and we're just going to put a tiny little drop underneath the knot. That way the knot doesn't move around on us. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little tiny drop underneath the knot. Kind of hold it there for a second. Very good. Now, with the rest of your hemp, just kind of wrap it around a few times until you run out, just like this. And grab another little dot of super glue. And right where that piece ends, put another little dot. And you can use your scissors or your finger. I always get glue on my finger at this part, so I like to use the scissors. And just hold it there for 60 seconds or so. we're getting close. I think it's basically there. Good. All right, so that is the left-hand side. Now, you want to decide how much hanger you want. So you can have a nice long hanger like that, or you can do kind of a shorter one like this, or somewhere in the middle. I like it like that. Then again, go about 1 inch in, or 2 inches, whatever you like, from the right-hand side, and we're going to do another double knot. So, bam, and double knot that thing. There we go. Make sure the knot's on the top like the other one is. Grab your super glue again, put another little dot underneath the knot. And again, wrap the excess rope a few times around to match the other side. And make sure it's about a matching amount. If there's extra, just put a little dot down so that it matches, and you can cut off the extra, all right? So I have a little extra. I'm putting my glue down, and I'm going to cut off the rest so both sides match. There we go. And ta-da! Your rustic foundational beam now has a nice little hemp hanger. And now we need to wait for the glaze to dry on the glass to move on to the next part, but we're almost there. So around this same time tomorrow, push play again, and we will finish up the project. Very good job, you guys. See you soon. Hey everybody, it's officially 24 hours later and we've made it to the last step. So as you can see, the glaze has dried nice and clear on the top of each of the pieces of glass. And now what we want to do is go ahead and remove all of the tape from the invisible line. Awesome. Be gentle with it. And as you remove that tape, you can kind of just wiggle the pieces around a little bit and make sure they're loose. If you had a little bit of a drip, you can kind of pull that piece up. This one had a drip. And just get it loose from the cardboard or the tray, whatever you used. And first we'll get all the pieces up, and then I'll show you what to do with those little drips that we were talking about earlier. Alright, almost done with this one here. And I've got a nice drip right here that I'll show you. Oops, it actually came off very easily. When you pull up your piece, the drip might just stick down and you might not even have to worry about it. Right? I had a drip on this one and it came right off right away. Let's see if I can pull this one up for you and keep the drip so I can show you what to do. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I've got the full piece here, and as you can see there was a little bit of a drip that went onto the cardboard. All you have to do is very gently pull out and away from the piece, and that excess resin will come right off, and you'll have a nice clean piece of glass and a full strand just like this. When you're pulling up your strand, make sure every piece in that strand is loose, because if there's a piece that isn't loose and you pull up your string, it'll rip it right off of the glass. So make sure all of the pieces are loose from the board before you lift up the strand, all right? Now, here's what we're going to do next. Just pretend that I have all of those strands all lifted off the board. And we are simply going to do a basic knot to tie onto the rustic foundational beam. So grab your string, your invisible line, And you can kind of choose if you want it to hang lower like this or kind of up close like that. I'm going to kind of go in the middle there. Lay it down. And we're just going to do a nice triple knot, just like the knots we did earlier with the rustic hemp. Let's do a triple knot though, just to make sure it stays on there really well. So I did 1, 2, wait for it. 2. And I'm going to do a triple knot just for good measure. 3. Pull it nice and tight. You'll have some extra. And then what I like to do is take a little tiny drop of super glue and put it on that knot. That way there's no way that it can come loose. So you see the knot there? Just put a little tiny drop of super glue, bam, and it won't go anywhere. And if you want to, you can adjust, move it around to where you want it to be. You can have your strands farther apart. You can put them closer together. Tie all 5 strands on there. You can snip off the excess string, and you have a beautiful finished beach glass wind chime. The really cool thing about this project is when you hang it in the window, if the light is shining through that window, it bursts through the wind chime and it shines beautiful color all throughout the room. You did it! I knew you could. Very, very, very good job, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you can join me for another craft. In the meantime, be blessed. Work it, live it, love it. Give it to me.